Folks, welcome to downtown Buffalo, where there is a palpable, not Palpatine, buzz in the air as the Buffalo Bisons get set for Star Wars night against the St. Paul Saints. Just down the street, we have the Buffalo Bandits looking to achieve NLL glory in Game 3 against the Colorado Mammoth. Let's get it, Buffalo, and let's go Bisons and Bandits. There he is, the Dark Lord, making some dreams come true. Let's go with the boys, with the boys.
3, 2, 1.
Let's go, Bandits!
Do you feel like a champion?
Yes!
You look like one. Let's go. I like this guy.
Let's go, Bandits!
We all saw it. We all saw it.
Go, Bandits! Let's go, Buffalo! Woo! We did it!
That's a champion. That's a champion right there. That's a champion.
World champs, baby! From year one to the most current, man. Champions again.
Let's go, baby!
Let's
There
go!
it is. Folks, welcome to Trainwreck tonight, 295, and tonight we are all champions. We are all members of the band Queen because the Buffalo Bandits are your 2023 NLL champions. And that's just one of many awesome topics we have for tonight's show. Obviously, we'll kick off with that. We got NBA and NHL Finals as well. We got all kinds of Bills news out the wazoo, and there's a weatherman battle brewing. We got to look into the forecast for the coming days. But I'm joined by a special co-host for tonight, the Micah Man, your friend, my friend, our friend, Jake Micah. Micah, how are we doing tonight, sir?
Living the dream, buddy. Living the dream. How are we? I mean, I can't possibly matching the high that anybody back home is. As everybody knows, I'm here in Chicago, Illinois, and watching you from afar through our beautiful video there and all the coverage we had on Trainwreck, and just seeing everybody's coverage all weekend of both the Bison's game, the Bandits championship, and just hearing about the buzz from friends and everything. It seemed like a legendary weekend back home in Buffalo, and I'm glad you got to experience it, my friend.
It was a tough fall. It was a tough winter. It was a tough early spring. And truthfully, this is this past weekend was maybe the most hype, fans had an opportunity to be in Buffalo, in like 2 months or so. So yeah, they definitely didn't need an excuse, a month and a half at least, obviously with the way things went with the Sabres. But yeah, kicking it off, Bandits are champions. Obviously they get it done in Game 3 over the Colorado Mammoth. I want to jump right into it. The Game 3, the way it went was just perfect. I had tweeted out, it's kind of like the Bills were up a little bit at half and they just dominated the third quarter. Similar thing with the Bandits. I believe they were up 11-4 or so after the third quarter into the early fourth. It was just an ideal way to win a championship. That building was buzzing over. It was shaking. Bandit land was going nuts. Micah, I know you're in Chicago, like, you have your history like in Western Europe. What's your history with the Bandits? Like, do you go back with them at all? And what's your history with Banditland?
I follow the Bandits along usually around playoff time as much as anybody else. I've been to games. My friends used to have season tickets, so that was always a good opportunity to get to go to some games and everything. And if I was back home, I would have been locked in for this run. I mean, you just see the excitement and just people getting back together, packing out the arena. Like, that's one of my favorite things, is just seeing everybody get together and be able to bring the energy to a place like that. Like we know how that arena can get. We've seen it in spurts for Sabres games, but Banditland consistently the last 20 years or so has been able to bring it like that. And just to see it rewarded, especially this year, after playing the team you lost to last year, I love a good revenge storyline, and it's perfect. It's legitimately perfect revenge storyline to come back, win, and at home to get this celebration. Like, what more could you ask for? It almost makes it worth it.
Seriously, no, you couldn't have said it better myself, because honestly, you look at the way it happened, you look at the way it went down, and obviously the faithful of Banditland deserve this, and especially Colorado and Buffalo. I mean, this rivalry is ridiculous at this point. Yeah, back-to-back finals matchups. I mean, it makes the Bills KC look like child's play. I am just looking at the stats now. The big thing, obviously, I mean, you go to any lacrosse game, you're typically going to see both teams score in the double digits. Believe it was the lowest goals allowed by a goalie in a finals game. So obviously, great time for that to happen for the Bandits. They strike there. And yeah, I mean, there's no reason to think this team will be going away anytime soon. I know, obviously they have a lot of pieces, but, they've been a contender for the last couple of years, and we'll keep it rolling. And speaking of rolling, that's what we want to get into. Saturday night being so live in Buffalo. The big thing is, you had roughly about almost around 35,000 people at two sporting events that had nothing to do with the Sabres or Bills. I mean, it just speaks to the culture. Anyone from Western New York, sports are first.
Sports are first, and just an opportunity to show support to the professional sports teams or the minor sports teams or the national lacrosse, whatever. Just being there to support a team that says Buffalo and represents the region. Like, you throw that name on, you go out there and work hard. That's what's going to matter. And having the coalescence of these two nights, like coming, maybe a little planning by the Bison's part, having a look at the schedule and being like, this could be a really fun day if this happens, like future planning or whatever. But the fact that it happens the same night, the way it all works out, and just like a beautiful day too. Like, I know that it was beautiful weather. Couldn't complain more. I know helping your springtime agenda, summertime agenda a lot. It's
been a huge 3 weeks for my springtime agenda.
It has been.
No doubt about it.
It has been, but I'm gonna keep tabs. I'm gonna keep tabs in once we hit late September to see where we're at too.
Shout out to Aaron Quinn. I mean, because there's only been one party that's really been able to come after me, and that's the Too Hot crowd, because it has been like 85. I'm not gonna lie, there have been a little times where it was uncomfortable. When I was, out last Thursday night, it felt like the sun was coming for me. It felt like the sun had an agenda. But with that said, I mean, I'm just going to take that 10 times out of 10. It feels so good to come back into a cool building with air conditioning, which basically, everyone has nowadays. Shout out, not to ostracize any listeners that don't. If you don't, make sure you get the outlet buy a case. Obviously, we need to find one way to cool down, one way or the other. But I mean, you got to love that weather. And a Saturday night truly was perfect. Honestly, I think it was about 70 degrees, like 70 degrees downtown Buffalo. You just had a little bit of humidity. I gotta say, I was in short sleeve and shorts. I was actually getting chilly by the end of the night with the way the wind whips downtown. But yeah, it was just crazy to see. And yeah, it makes you think, there were the whispers after this, Buffalo should get like an MLB team, or Buffalo should get an NBA team. I mean, obviously, you'd love that.
Oh yeah. I mean, hey, sign me. I'd sign any petition. I'll go protest outside in New York, whatever we need to do, I'll be there for that. I mean, the people would be there. That's the thing, is like, whatever, like you said, and last night showed it. Maybe it would be like, if the team wasn't doing well, like Sabres games the last 10 years have been like that. Maybe that's the worst it would get. But the second the team is worth anything, people would go out and support and want to get together and gather together in the city. Like, I think that showed it out more than anything. And doesn't it just get you excited for just thinking about September, October rolling around, and just clearly the energy that is pent up right now, getting ready to go here?
I am in a weird spot with the Buffalo Bulls, the football, because obviously I'm hoping it can translate to that. when weather's nice. I'm in a weird spot because part of me feels like they don't get a ton of support, but then also on the same, thing, when I went to a game in 2021, we all did as kind of like a Trainwreck unit. We were there with Creek Degenerate, Mega by Ronnie, Slick L, Degenerate Al, myself. There were more people there than I've ever seen tailgating for a UB game. And I was there at the Lance Leipold era where they started, 4-0, 5-0 and really had some hype. So that was very interesting to see. But yeah, I'm hoping that, that crazy action, that passion can obviously pour over to that. There's still a whole summer ahead. So there's tons of Bisons action if you want to take advantage of that. But real quick, I think I know the answer, but would you rather have an MLB or an NBA team if you could?
I feel like an MLB team would just make more sense, though. It just fits perfectly within the seasons. You just keep it rolling all year long,
1,000%.
like a summertime like this. So I don't like, as much as I would love to see a Braves ×2 or a new team there. Let the Sabres have that. I think having the MLB team, having 3 all year round, have that Pittsburgh model. That'd be great to match up. You have that right there. I think that would work out.
Oh my God, I would love to be a Pittsburgh Pirates. That would be so cool. All right. Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, and there's just so many more baseball games, so many more times to go. You don't get the overlap, like you said. I mean, and you're a big NBA guy. That
place would be packed out. That place would be packed out June, July, August. Every home game.
You get a drinking tent, doesn't matter what company it is in there, game over, obviously. Speaking of game over, obviously that was a big part of the weekend. The Bandits, the Bisons, that dominated the storylines. Anything else, big that you're into? We obviously have NBA Finals, NHL Finals action. What was on your brain?
Well, I did not watch the Stanley Cup Final live because I went to go see Spider-Verse, so I won't speak. The story of that game, it was pretty simple, just opening my phone up after and seeing, it was tied 2-2, third period, and then it was 5-2. That's the things Vegas has done all year long, honestly, for the last 3 years. They can just turn it on in the third period, put clamps on you. Not surprised. Don't forget
Vegas also won game 1 when they were in it in what was that, 2018?
Oh, great point. Yeah.
Then they lost in 5. Burrs had a famous wager, caps in 5, and we watched it the whole way. They lost game 1, and he just goes, "It's still alive." and he ran it the whole way.
He's a prophet. He's a prophet.
It was legendary. It was legendary. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the Stanley Cup Finals game 1, I don't know. I don't want to criticize. I mean, obviously our boy Jay Lazzie's out there covering it live, so that's very cool.
Shout out to Lazzie.
To see him on the network. He's grinding. Love it. But I think the NBA action has been a little bit more captivating. Whether it's just seeing Jokic finally on his biggest stage by himself. Everyone kind of acknowledging how good he is, everything, et cetera, et cetera. But the Heat did what the Heat have done all postseason. And that's not actually what they've done all postseason was win game 1 on the road. They didn't do that this series, but they bounced back with a big road win. So with that said, 1-1, what do you got in this NBA Finals? Do you think there's cause for concern in Nugget land?
Well, so the prediction that when we were talking about it the other day, I came to I think Steve and I think we all picked either 6 or 7. Steve might have picked 7 and me and Dunny picked 6. And it was basically I think this series should be a 5-game series. I think the Nuggets are just a well-oiled machine. And this is just the start of probably a pretty damn good run from them if they stay healthy, not the end of it. And they're just Miami, this team, they've done it all playoffs, so you shouldn't be surprised, but the Nuggets just feel like they're a level ahead of anybody who, even if the Celtics were in this series, I think they would have been a level ahead of anybody, right? But then you're like, all right, but Miami's the zombie team, so you have to add a game, so it's probably 6. And I guess this is the game, right? They shot 49% from 3, which is what they've been doing all playoffs, and what they didn't do during the regular season. They did not shoot as well as they did last year. Their 3-point shooting numbers were all down all across the board. Duncan Robinson, a guy who's been on the court the last 2 series, couldn't get on the floor for the entire regular season. They were injured and everything. And now they're kind of just coming back to normal. And if you shoot 49% from 3, and then you have, Bam and Jimmy Butler playing they didn't play any spectacular game last night, but they were efficient. They were pretty good. It's going to be tough to beat them. And then they figured out something in that fourth quarter offensively where they just blitz them. And
they've done that all postseason.
It is.
There were times against the Bucks. How many double-digit leads did the Bucks have in the second half or the fourth quarter of that series? Celtics.
And yeah, go ahead.
No, it's just crazy to see. And I'm not the first person to say it, so I'm not gonna act like I'm making some transcending point here. But man, Eric Spoelstra was really thrown into the fire as a head coach. Like he was in the finals every year, basically against like Popovich. Basically anytime he didn't, go against Popovich, he outcoached the other person in the finals.
Yeah.
And that was Pat Riley, who could have been in that spot. Pat Riley could have easily, a lot of people forget back in that era, he could have easily just walked right down and been
You
the
remember
coach.
it was a story every year. Like when's Pat
When is
taking
Pat
Spo
gonna
out?
cut in? Yes, it was crazy. And now I think you're kind of seeing the dividends of that experience because my goodness, every time like they get in a second half or a fourth quarter where they need it, they go on. I mean, to start that fourth quarter last night, oh my goodness, what 15-2 run? Insane.
It was insane. I couldn't believe. I was in shock.
Duncan Robinson was doing everything. He was literally putting on a clinic. He was cutting to the basket. He was and one like lay-ins with 50 noodles. He was 3 bombs off the dribble. It was crazy.
I was on the phone with my brother and during the fourth quarter, and I said, when Duncan Robinson is going to the rim strong and celebrating, you're in deep. And that happened. That was like 9:30 left in the fourth quarter. That it flipped that quick, and you're just like, that's what they've been done all year, and that's why you can't doubt them. And now you get Wednesday night in South Beach. You know how that place can be for a finals game. Like we haven't seen it in Miami actually since 2014, but that's a really fun finals environment. Anything could happen in that game 3. I really don't know.
Will DJ Khaled be courtside with his golf clubs?
The courtside seats are going to be very interesting in Miami for this because I feel like all the celebrities are going to try to hit up Miami, right? Like they're thinking, well, maybe not the Wednesday game though, the Friday night game.
Oh, Friday night game, all bets are off.
Celebrities.
Yeah.
100%. Did you see Lil Wayne there with his wired headphones? Shout out to the wired headphone gang.
I like wired headphones. I think.
Yeah, I got them right here. That's why I was so
excited. It's nothing like losing connection and not being able to lose music. Doesn't happen with headphones, babes. Hey, we'll be right back on the other side of this message from our sponsor with more finals talk.
Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?
What's your outlet? All right, Micah. So real quick, as we put a wrap on this talk, because I think you've done it pretty well. What do you do? Are you doing Rollins or Jericho?
Rollins.
Are you doing Rollins or Jericho?
Oh, it's Seth Rollins. Yeah. To the okay. What's your
yeah. Okay.
Outlet?
I like that. Who has the better chance of winning their series, the Panthers or the Heat? I'm looking at the odds right now. Panthers are plus 180, Heat are plus 220. So they were pretty close.
Ooh. I think the Panthers because before we jumped over to the NBA Finals, the point I was going to make is I wouldn't be surprised if the Panthers just win like 3-0, 4-0 tonight, and they're coming back and feeling really good going back to Florida where they've been awesome all playoffs. Like Florida, like this series, I think this is going 7 with Florida and Vegas. These teams are so evenly matched. Florida is like I get why it's surprising that they beat Boston and it is surprising. It's shocking that they beat Boston and that they've made this kind of run after they barely made the playoffs. But it's a team that the infrastructure's been there for like this Miami, like the Heat team. It's so funny how similar it is. Like they won the President's Trophy last year. They've been through these playoff battles and everything. And even though the core's changed just a little bit and everything else, like there's just enough of it there and just enough of that grind. And then Kachuk is just the kind of driver they needed and kind of the attitude they needed to get through. And that's why I don't think that they're going to keep battling back. And I think Vegas is going to keep battling back because they're a tough team too. And these teams just seem so evenly matched. I think we're going 7 and they might just win back and forth until 7. Who knows?
If we were on Around the Horn right now, I would agree with you. But then my pivot is I think both of these teams are going to come back in their series. I think the Heat are going to win.
Oh, man.
And I think the Panthers are going to win. And Florida is going to be championship central. Tampa Bay Lightning. You got the Tampa Bay Rays dominating. All I got to say, I love it. It just seems so obvious now. I mean, you just see the adjustments that the Heat are making. I mean, unless Jokic starts playing better, I don't know. I worry about the Heat and their ability to, kind of make those adjustments. And now they got home court. And the thing is, like, we can't just keep saying, "Oh, can the Heat really do this?" Like it's 1-1. No, they're doing it,
and they're going home.
Yeah.
We need to this series is probably going at least 6, probably 7 at this point. the way like if they're gonna battle like this in all these games, maybe the Nuggets rip off the next 3. Maybe. I'm not at this point. I will not assume that. I think this at least goes 6, and either of these teams in a game 6 scenario facing elimination, I just think we might just be in for a long series. And
over under
it's crazy,
12.5 finals games between these two series.
I'm going over 12.5. I think that's a 7.
So it's either got to be a 7-6 or a 7-7 for your Micah man there. Very interesting.
I'm sticking with my Nuggets in 6. I'm not going to bail on it because it's 1-1. That's basically the strategy I went with. But I'm going with the Panthers in 7. I still think that Florida's going to edge that out, and I just don't want Jack Eichel personally to win.
Well, I'll tell you what I don't want is to ever live in a world where Brandon Beane is not our general manager of the Buffalo Bills, your Buffalo Bills, my Buffalo Bills, our Buffalo Bills. Wake up today and Leonard Floyd has signed a Super Bowl contract. So this is a big name loitering out there, obviously. It's someone who's played with Vaughn, someone who has experience. Plain and simple on the board, 10 sacks a year for the last 3 years has basically been like clockwork. It's like 11, 9, like 10 or something where the 3 seasons. You have to figure nothing makes McDermott more excited besides a gallon of ice cream than being able to rotate that defensive line at will, that defensive front, and get fresh personnel in there so that you can keep everyone ready to go. And especially last year, they talked, it's easy to forget because so much happened between the middle of November and the end of that Bills season. But my goodness, Von Miller was a closer. He was coming in, forced fumble on, I believe it was, Patrick Mahomes. Like, he's been getting sacks on Lamar Jackson in that fourth quarter. They were able to keep him fresh. And obviously, those dogs are all hungry. Jordan Phillips, Shaq Lawson, and now we got Leonard Floyd on a 1-year deal. I mean, what do you think Leonard Floyd wants to do? You think he's signing with someone who he doesn't think he's going to get 10 sacks with? He wants to put up some numbers, and then he wants to get paid. And maybe he puts up some numbers, but we sign him to, a paid / team-friendly deal to kind of pair with Vaughn for the remainder of his contract. I don't know, a lot of people were saying Vaughn's deal is going to end up being like a 3 or 4 year deal, even though it was 6, obviously, when it was signed. But what was your thoughts? Obviously, waking up, excitement. What's the vibe? Did you remember that he had a pick 6 on Nate Peterman?
I didn't know that until right now. Okay. I forgot about that. That's incredible. What year was that?
It was 2018, and it was a deflected ball, and it popped up, and Floyd caught it, and basically just walked it to the end zone. He was already celebrating at like the 10. He caught it like the 15.
Sounds like a Peterman moment, yeah. No, I wasn't aware of that, but that makes me love him even more. It's really like I'm gonna look really big picture here with the Leonard Floyd signing because I think it makes a lot of sense, just tied to everything that's happened. Just starting with Vaughn last year. When they decided to splurge for Vaughn, that was a clear change in trajectory of team building, right? Like there was not like those funds were not allocated. Like we didn't think the general viewing public did not think Von Miller's star money is allocated there. So if Oliver, who by all accounts and every stat you looked at benefits from being surrounded by these edge rushers and these big defensive linemen that can help run stuff, and he does elite work, right? Like what was the pressure rate stat from Next Gen? He was like 4th in the league the last 3 seasons in pressure rate or something for interior linemen. He got hurt in the first game last year. He only got to play 5 or 6. I think you tweeted about it. 5 or 6 games together. Ed and Vaughn got to play.
Yeah, that's a massive thing that I feel like a lot of people, I forgot about it until I saw it. He only played the first game and then he was come back. So you don't even know when he was coming back. Was he 90%? Was he like
high ankle sprains are a bitch too?
Yeah, exactly. They were getting him in because they probably knew, we can get 20 to 30 or like I forget what his snap counts were, but maybe at least get him in the lineup for some impact plays. But if you have both those guys going full throttle, you have Leonard Floyd,
Agreed.
You have Daquan Jones, you have Von Miller. I mean, it's just Greg Rousseau. People were posting that 11-man defense with Taylor Rapp, Floyd, and I think it was Rousseau,
and Taron
Floyd,
Johnson in there,
Miller, Rousseau, Floyd, Miller, Oliver in the front. I mean, you're going to be absolutely decimating teams.
So I'm just the team building part of it. The main crux about it is when you look at the Edmonds deal, them not signing Edmonds and whatever the group at linebacker is going to be. They basically said we're going to sign Oliver to a lesser deal, surround him with talent, with Vaughn getting healthy, assume he'll be a superstar player. And then, so you basically get Leonard Floyd and Ed Oliver for the price of Tremaine Edmonds at this, like, well, not the same price, but I'm just thinking like team building wise of what they're doing it. If you're going to have a hole in your defense, I agree with Mr. McDermott, Coach McDermott there. It shouldn't be in the trenches. And the Bills have made that decision very loud and clear on both sides of the ball this year. And I think it's going to pay dividends for them. And if your hole is that you have an all-pro linebacker and then a hodgepodge next to him, so be it, right? Like, so be it.
Just to show, this is from Mike Catalana. These are the current defenders on the Bills on a 1-year deal. So you see, I mean, the Bills are piecing together what they can. These are all Super Bowl contracts. Let me see if I can get this bigger for the people. Oh, nope, can't. Anyways, get out of there. Okay. But yes, looking at that, the one thing a lot of people noted too, it reminds a lot of people of the 2018 to 2019 offseason when they got Beasley, they got Brown, they kind of put together some of the pieces to get there, a little bit more flexibility with the roster instead of just one or two big names. So obviously that's exciting. And the other exciting thing, well, not that, is the Bills breaking ground on the stadium this morning. You know, I don't know, politicians and team reps shoveling dirt like Triple H in 2004.
Hey, it's good to see though, right? And then the biggest thing was I think Brother Bill pointed it out very assuredly that there was the buffalo statue on the corner of the cake, or the
giant buffaloes, the Buffalo Stampede. Yes.
So that is something I've wanted to keep an eye on in all these renderings. We need those statues out there. I think that would be great. Great shots in front of that stadium for it and everything. Great Instagram picture ability. So keep it rolling. Keep those statues in there. Otherwise, we'll have a riot. If we see them missing, so it's good to know that we got people on the lookout. I'm just saying we can make an uproar of it.
Seriously, no, let's make an uproar about. I'm sure we'll find something else to make an uproar about. Speaking of uproars, we woke up to the news of Leonard Floyd this morning. But speaking of news, did you see that there was a storm on the horizon, Micah?
Listen, I'm just saying, you got every right to clap back if you see hate on the timeline. That's one of my golden rules.
So I jumped into this tweet from Mike Bernard because it was hysterical. Like, I just clicked Buffalo Weatherman and that was the first one that came up. Before this tweet, I don't even know where it was. I don't even know what the report was, but someone said like Don Paul said someone else on Twitter questioned my report and it's getting retweets. So I want to clarify like what I was saying or whatever, which totally understand, makes sense. Yep. Okay. But then Mike Sajka claps back, I'll disregard the lack of respect. The someone was Mike Sajka. And we were talking at the pre-show. Tagging yourself is a alpha move.
Crazy move, yeah.
Adding to your
it's
own
like
notice.
Saying third person and first person like at the same time. It's nuts.
And then I think Don Paul kind of clapped back here with the where is your respect? The all caps your always gets them on the battle there. Okay, so this is the first one. So I clicked it out of order. Last night news where someone chose to quote unquote correct me on Twitter. I like how only correct
He's not giving
is
it
in quotes. Not me. You can correct it, but it's not me. Concerning comments. Okay, now again, this is a serious matter. I get it. Like they're saying wildfires in Quebec, narrow plumes of smoke. So, obviously, this has some kind of effect and they want people to know the facts. But these are just two men being passionate. You got to love it. Everyone in Buffalo is ready to battle on the internet.
Listen, they really
well, some people are. But going on. Anything else we got? Did you gamble? Any good gambling this weekend? We had Hovland taking it down in the playoff. Obviously, our whole chat was saying Hovland all the time, and then I fall asleep and I miss the train to get on him when he's with 2 hours to go.
Yeah, I also missed that. No good. Not really any good gambling this weekend. Saw Spider-Verse Saturday night. It was a nice little Saturday. Just some. I did bet on the Heat to cover last night, so that was nice. Should have just bet the money line. Should have just rolled with it. But no, other than that, nothing else on the weekend. I think it's going to be a fun week of we're really kicking into the finals now this week of all these games. Yeah,
this is strictly this. I originally titled the show just like finals week because but the Bandits obviously need that light. They deserve it. Obviously bringing a championship to the city with all the partying they were doing as well. Amazing seeing them at the bars. everything like that, going out, kind of partying like our boy Drake, getting his card declined on that one.
Oh my
feud, which is
God.
just outrageous. What was I gonna say? Anything coming up? Obviously, no. So like you said, it reminds me of those high school like finals weeks when like there's nothing really going on except the finals. So like it's like the NBA finals, NHL finals. Yeah, you got MLB, and there is some college baseball action going on all day for the Super Degens. But yeah, it's a great time just to kind of enjoy the weather. And we're officially 98 days until the Bills kick off the season.
Kicking back, yeah. It's gonna be a great summer. It's big wrestling time for me, as you know.
Of course.
My biggest shout out is the Jimmy.
Pull it up.
Is Jimmy Uso, just for always being a bro. That's what it's got to be.
Jimmy Uso always was a real one. Jay kind of went through it. He had to kind of dipsy doodle, and Sammy started. Jimmy has always been the straightest
to everybody.
Shooter. Like,
to
okay,
everybody.
like he came back when there was a problem and his brother was getting beat up. Then he just hung around because, like, all right, why wouldn't I hang around and like?
Then Sammy needed a buddy. Sammy needed a guy, and Jimmy's like, I got you, buddy.
Someone with sympathy. He's like, I got you. And then, yeah, I mean, that was the reason people want to see more of the Bloodline, like as the ratings obviously indicate, is because
2.9 million people watch that.
It's performed so well. It's literally like poetry. There's all kinds of stuff going on. There's so many factors, and people can't wait to see it. And honestly, who said what was it? Kevin Nash said it was better, or Eric Bischoff said it was better than the NWO.
I think Bischoff said it was better than the
NWO. I mean, Triple H is managing a storyline basically better than the NWO. So I think we're going to get something absolutely
2.9 million people watching wrestling on a Friday night.
Could we get back? Could we get back to the golden age of weekend wrestling? CM Punk on Saturdays.
Couple weeks, I'll be there live at the first Collision to see.
12 days till Micah collides.
Hold on though, but like what that man, I just feel like he's gonna be unhinged. Like you can't just show up and be PG Punk, right?
You think he's gonna be unhinged?
He's gonna be
unhinged.
That first show is gonna be so chaotic. Like they have to just play into it. So it's a great time if you're a wrestling fan. For the next
remember
3 months.
Remember when Tony Khan smelled blood in the water? So he just had oh my God, why can't I remember his name now? Oh my God, because he's already fallen down the AEW roster.
Action Andretti?
Switchblade.
Oh, Jay White? What about him?
Tony Khan just smelled blood in the water, so he debuted Switchblade 3 minutes into Dynamite. I'm telling you, like, you think he's not going to do something crazy in the first like 5 to 10 minutes of Collision. You're an absolute psycho. They're not going to be like, oh, let's take our time with this crowd. They're going to try and drop a nuke. Yeah.
And then they have, Forbidden Door the next week, which is shaping up to be something insane too. It's just going to be a crazy time. AEW, WWE in London at the end of the month too. Just
seriously, AEW starting in London before the Bills go take care of business there. Joshy, tell them where they can follow.
Apple, Spotify, YouTube.
Make sure you're following all the platforms. Make sure you're following Happy Hour Hoops.
Tomorrow night.
Finals
act. There.
We'll be breaking it down, all the action. I might pop in. I don't know if I'll be on. I might pop in there, but because obviously I have a word or two to say about Timothy. And we'll check it out there.
How do you feel about $100 cup of coffee?
That's a lot.
He's starting it. He thinks he's gonna make millions of dollars. Like, I read some article where there's a business plan to make tens of billions of dollars in the first couple of years. $100 cups of coffee in Miami.
$1 million worth of game, $100 cups of coffee. I don't know what has a better chance there. But hey, shout out to everybody for following along. Shout out to Micah for joining me as a co-host on Trainwreck tonight, 295, brought to you by Outlet Liquor. Make sure, folks, to go have a good night now.